There we go. There was a bit of a delay there. Hi, how are you? I'm Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. I'm coming to you tonight with the very last night in my 12 Days of Christmas series. I decided to start earlier this year, and it really is a very good thing that I did because I'm going on a little vacation, and it wouldn't have worked out if I hadn't started earlier. I also did realize, though, that I won't be with you next week, so that means I would miss a week of showing you some Christmas cards. So I have started adding some cards into this and not just gift items. So tonight I have a card for you as well, and typically I bring you 3 cards, but tonight I'm only bringing you 1 because I do need to kind of cut it short. And I apologize for that, but I just have a whole lot going on here. Whole lot going on. So we'll turn the camera down and we will get started. Okay. Oh, my camera's flopping again. There we go. Yeah, I do have quite a mess. I'm also prepping for a class tomorrow. So I'm really kind of done, but sometimes when I start prepping ahead of time, which should be a good thing, and it is a good thing, but then I kind of lose track of what I did because it wasn't just yesterday that I did it. So it's hard to say. Sometimes it's almost better to fly by the seat of your pants. Okay, let's just make sure that I'm here. And I'm not yet. Hang on. I loved the picture that I put up today just to remind you that I was coming on tonight. And I was looking at those snowmen. I don't know if you noticed them, and I'm trying to figure out if they really are made out of paper. I would love to learn how to make those. I thought I saw a seam on one of them. But it's just a GIF that I found online, so I'll have to see if I can find that because that would be a pretty cool thing to make at some point. Anyway, let's just get everything set. So, December 1st, so I have a new host code. Is today the 1st or the 2nd? Today's the 2nd, isn't it? Gosh, I can't even keep track. I can't even believe it's December. I stopped over to talk to my next door neighbor for just a few minutes, and he ran in the house and got a Christmas card for me. So they've got their Christmas cards already, and mine may be made, but sometimes I'm really bad about getting them mailed out on time. So anyway, if you do place an order in the month of December, please use this host code. I know that I've mentioned before that I think I know the host codes are going away. What I don't know for a fact is exactly when. Is it going to be the 1st of the year or a little bit into the year? I'm not sure that they've announced that yet. If they have, I haven't noticed it. So as customers, you will still get rewards, but instead of getting them instantly like you do now, it'll be delayed until you place your next order. So that's not terrible, but I know some people like getting those instant rewards. So if you have any things that you need to stock up on, December might be the time to do that. Glue, DSP, cardstock, whatever you need, besides, possibly some stamp sets and whatnot. Okay, so last night of the 12 Days of Christmas, and I've got a card for you, and I got so carried away that I started putting the card together before instead of just gathering all of the stuff that I needed for it. So when I show it to you, it's going to be a bit of a giveaway, but that's okay. So it's I don't want to say it's a variation. It's a version of the stack, cut, and shuffle method. I know that I've showed that before, but it was a while ago, and that might have been before I started hashtagging things. Excuse me. I have tried to go back. Excuse me. I have tried to go back. I'm drinking coffee instead of water, believe it or not, tonight, because I was up until at least 2 o'clock in the morning. I kept sitting up in bed, and I keep a pad and a pencil next to my nightstand or on my nightstand. And I kept writing down things that I needed to pack for this trip, and I kept writing down things that I needed to do before this wedding, and so I did not get much sleep. I hope it gets better, but if nothing else, I will sleep on the plane. I should show you my coffee cup, though, if I can tip it without spilling the coffee on my project. It says, "I'm not aging, I'm evolving." I thought that was kind of cute. Someone bought that for me when I turned 65, so I like that. All right, so I am using a real red card base, but I also made some card bases in Mossy Meadow, as that would be a choice as well. So this is double-sided cardstock, and I cut it at 1 3/4. So what I did was I stacked up 4 sheets of cardstock. Okay, which really gives you 8 choices because all of our regular DSP, not cardstock, I stacked up the DSP. By stacking up 4 pieces, I actually give you 8 choices because all of our regular DSP is double-sided. So I cut it to 1 3/4 by 2 3/8, which allowed me to get almost, to get a bunch of them out of one strip with only just like maybe 1/8 of an inch left over. So that was kind of nice. So basically what you do is once you've got the 4 up in front of you, cut up, you, especially if you're making multiple cards, if you're making one card, it doesn't matter. If you're making multiple cards, you kind of lay them out in front of you, and it's almost like playing solitaire. You know how when you lay out solitaire cards, you start out with 1, and then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, and then you keep adding 1. You do that so that if you're making a bunch of them, they don't all have the same pattern. So these I already glued down. These 2, you can see what's on the other side. This one also has some greenery. No, it's not that one. Let me see if I can find one because I kind of mixed them up a little bit. This one, which I do like a lot, I love that pattern, but there's greenery there, and greenery there, and I thought it was too much. So that's why I flipped it over, but everybody has different tastes, so we'll see, you know, if you make a card like this, what color choices you end up making. So we're putting these on and trying our best to space them evenly. So you know the other night I had a little run-in with my cat, so to speak. So this is Louie. This is the most recent rescue. And he's a sweetheart. He's a lover for the most part. He's a sweetheart. But he just doesn't understand how invasive he is and how in my way he is when I'm moving about the house. So I'm packing, and I hate putting yucky suitcases on my bed to pack. I know it's like everybody does it, and I used to do it too, but think about where those suitcases have been. So what I did was I got out a hamper that has kind of a domed lid, and I took the lid off the hamper, and I set the hamper outside my bedroom door, and I put the suitcase on the hamper. Now, it's pretty steady. You know, you'd have to like bump into it to get it to fall down or whatever. But then it was getting in my way, so I moved it closer to where the staircase is, and I was walking things from my bedroom over to the little thing that I set up with the hamper and the suitcase, and creating so that I could start packing. He decided he wanted to follow me into the spare bedroom where I went in to get a few things, and I don't let him go in there because there's a very strange kind of a captain's bed in there that my daughter and I bought for her when she was, I don't know, in high school, I think, from a friend of hers. And she liked it because it had drawers in the bottom, but it also had a pull-out another bed, so when she had friends sleep over, they had another bed in the room. And the other cat, Dexter, sometimes gets behind it, and when he gets behind it, he can't figure out how to get out, and the bed is so heavy. It's solid, handmade. It's a handmade item. It's solid wood. So when he gets behind it, he can't get out, and one of us has to like sort of throw ourselves off the bed and try to grab him by whatever body part we can grab him by. The last time he got stuck in there, I removed one of the drawers and tried to coax him out under, and he wouldn't come out that way. And Louie's a lot bigger than Dexter is, so I was really afraid that if he got behind that bed, I was going to have to call 911 to get him out. I mean, I didn't know how I would get him out. So I grabbed him and tried to catch him before he went into the room. I hit the hamper. The suitcase, and everything in the suitcase went banging down the stairs. Scared the heck out of the other little cat who was at the bottom of the stairs looking up to see what was going on up there because he heard me kind of yelling at Louie. And everything just landed everywhere. Just a foul mess. It was just horrible. And they were both so scared to death they went and hid under something for just a few minutes, though, because about 5 minutes later, Louie came back and was ready to do the same thing all over again. Okay, so there I've got that, and I do think that's really pretty. I like the mixture. I like having the greens and the bluish greens here and the reds here. I've liked this pattern a lot. This is a retired paper, and I'm just trying to use it up. We have lots of current paper, both as online exclusives and in my online store, so you can certainly get lots of new paper, and I've showed much of it to you already this season, but now I'm just trying to use up old pattern. I also wanted to show you, while I was rambling about other things, the new I almost called it a sale, but it's not a sale. It's a special release. I'll show you that in a few minutes. So let me finish this. So this is a thing that I like to do where I take a punch. And in this case, I used the Heartfelt Hexagon punch, but I also had an option for using the Modern Oval punch. So what I did was I punched out a bunch of each in white and in Mossy Meadow and in Real Red, so that I had them for tomorrow's class. And what we do sometimes, there's a couple of different options. I picked a sentiment, and I remembered too that the sentiment is from, here we go, it's from The Peaceful Season, and the sentiment that I picked this time is, I think it is, let me make sure it's the right one. Yeah, I went back and forth between these two. This one says, wishing you all the things that warm your heart and lift your spirits. And this one I love because you've heard me say before, I like it when they mix cursive with print. So this one says, thinking of you with warm feelings and a wish for all the merriest. So that's the one that I chose. And I chose it because I really liked it, but I also chose it because I checked it out and it would fit in both of those shapes. All right, but then I realized I had not used that one yet, so I'm going to go through that process that you've seen me do before, where I kind of prime the stamp. All right, so I'm going to use Real Red because that's the color that I'm using for my background here. And if you haven't seen me do that, I'll show you in a minute how I do that. So I ink up the stamp and then I stamp it on a piece of scrap paper and I smush it. And I do this a couple of times because there seems to be on the photopolymer stamps a little bit of some type of a coating on them. And so the first few times that you use one, it seems to not come out as nicely as it should. It's almost like the ink is beading up on something. So the theory is that the ink is beading up on this coating that's on the stamps. That's part of the manufacturing process. So that is why I do the thing where I smush, stamp and smush. Then I also want to make sure that the stamp is dry, because if the photopolymer stamp is wet, then you'll get that same kind of beaded up look. All right, so I'm going to grab a sheet here. This is just a piece of craft foam, nothing special, nothing fancy, although I glued two pieces together to make it a little cushier. And we use these when we're using the photopolymer stamps because it gives them a little cushion, because the rubber stamps, the red rubber stamps, kind of come with their own cushion, but these don't. So it just helps to get a better image. Okay, that came out very nice. It looks straight for the most part. Sorry, I got a hair on my lip or something. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. First of all, you can choose not to do it at all. You can choose just to put this on there. I kind of like something else. Sometimes I even go with black, even though there's nothing black on the card. You can put them like this and offset them a little bit, and that's really nice too. I sometimes like that. The other thing that you can do is to cut them down the middle, and you could cut them either way. In this one, I prefer to go the long way. All right, and so what happens is you put a little bit of glue on this, on the flat edge where you just cut it, and you place that on the back of your sentiment and just kind of push it down to where you want it. So do you want a lot of the red showing? Do you want just a skinny bit of the red showing? It's up to you. And then you're going to do the same thing with the other half. And then you're going to do the same thing on the bottom. And only now you want to kind of be sure, as best as you can, that you've made these even. So you don't want this one to be super skinny and this one to be super fat on the other side. So I'm going to push it down a little bit so that they look mostly even to me. Okay, and then I am going to pop this up using dimensionals. Oh, I know I finished. No, I didn't quite finish off a sheet last night. There we go. All right, and even though our glue is very strong and I have no fears of it coming apart, I do like to, when I've glued something like this, whether it's little pieces of greenery on the back or something, I do like to just make things a little bit more secure by going over that section with some of the dimensionals. So in this case, since I'm using up edge pieces, I'm just going to go ahead and put some of those there. here, and then maybe I'll even put one here just so that that bottom piece can't get, or that center rather, can't get smushed in, just in case. I missed one. No, I guess not. Oh, I do see 5 pieces there. Okay. Okay. Now again, you could put some stuff on here, like you could put some die-cut greenery coming out the back, but I honestly just thought that was kind of busy. Not too busy, but that adding other stuff would make it busy. The other thing I could have done was I could have taken a real pale green and I could have just stamped some greenery here, maybe stamped it off once so that it was very pale in the background. I do like that look and I forget to do that often, so that's something to kind of think about. And then on the inside of the card, I could take, let's see, what have I got here? I know I've got some more of that paper. What do I do with it? So I could take, you know, a strip of this designer series paper and just put it on, well, not on there, but on the bottom of this. I could look for another sentiment that would look nice in the middle. I don't know. I set that paper someplace, you know, to keep it safe. Oh, here we go. I was going to say, when you put something aside to keep it safe, at least in my world, it's usually the kiss of death. It means you're never going to see it again. Or also in my case, you're going to see it again, but when you're looking for something else. Yesterday I was looking for one thing in my bedroom, and I found 3 things that I've been looking for on and off for a month. In ridiculous places, like in a drawer where they didn't belong, or, you know, sometimes I don't even know why I put things where I put them. Anybody else do that? Oh, you know what I wanted to ask too? Has anybody been watching The Diplomat on Netflix? Oh my gosh. So I just finished binge watching the first 2 seasons, and now it's done. You know, if you want to binge watch, season 3, I don't know if that's even started yet. I can't remember what they said. If you object to bad language, the F word is used like every 3 minutes, and I'm barely exaggerating on that. So if you don't, not that I like bad language, I can tolerate it. I think it's almost a little overdone, but whatever. It's not going to keep me from watching it because it's amazing. It's a very good series. It's full of drama and hidden surprises, and the characters are really wonderful. I really like all the characters. Well, I don't like them all, but they're all very well done. Let's put it that way. They're well portrayed. There are some that are not likable. Anyway, if you get a chance, and like I said, if you don't mind a little swearing, because it's pretty, you can't really avoid it. If you don't mind a little swearing, then I would highly recommend The Diplomat. And apparently, it's been recommended to me by a couple of people, and apparently I started watching it a while ago in the first season and forgot that I started watching it. I probably forgot what the name of it was. So I turned it on again about a week ago because somebody mentioned it again, and I said, well, I guess I better watch that. And of course, 2 minutes in, I realized I'd seen several of the episodes already, but I watched them again just to make sure that I knew what was going on. All right, so there we go. So that is just a simple thing, but it just keeps the inside of the card from looking naked. The other thing that really helps with cards that look naked is some bling. And I keep forgetting I have these druzy. I did ask Google what druzy meant, and it has something to do with faceted and shiny or something, I think. I personally think I would like the silver ones better with this. I don't know. The gold would look good with the pine cones, but maybe not with everything else. So I think I'm going to stick with the silver. Although I do that a lot with things that come in silver and gold. I tend to lean towards the silver. And then I have all these packages of embellishments left that are, nothing but gold left in them. They're a little dimensional, and they're highly textured. So you want to be careful. In fact, they're almost they're almost sharp. They're not faceted. They're almost sharp. And so if you were going to put this in something to be mailed, and I don't know if any of you have ever thought of this or not, but I have a person who watches my videos sometimes who sent me a couple of cards over the years, and she takes a piece of cheap cardstock. So I don't think she uses her good Stampin' Up! Cardstock, and she runs it through the embossing folder, any embossing folder, but like a highly textured one, and she puts it on top of the card. So it's basically just the 5.5 by 4.25. She puts it on top of the card to protect it, because some of these embellishments, if you don't pay extra to have them not go through the rollers, some of these embellishments will actually cut into your envelope and may ruin your envelope. So it's just, a word to the wise, a good idea to do that. And I thought that was so clever when she sent me a card with that on it. So I kind of like it just there on the white, because I think it could get lost over here. I wish there was one smaller size, but there isn't. So I'm just going to go with the 2 of them there. And then I'll have to remember that if I'm mailing this card to somebody, that I'm going to want to do the same thing that Linda did. Hi, Debbie. How are you? It's nice to see you. I think you've watched a couple of nights recently. Thank you for joining. It's always nice to see a new face, or a new name. I guess I can't really see your face now, can I? Okay, so like I said, cutting it short tonight. I've got to get dinner, and then I've got a bunch of things to do, and I've got to pack up my class bag for tomorrow. So I do appreciate you watching, and again, I appreciate it if you comment or say hello. Let me know that you're here. And I will not see you next Wednesday. So we're done with the 12 days of Christmas, but I will not see you next Wednesday, because I will be on vacation next Wednesday, but I'll be back the Wednesday after that. All right. So enjoy very much. Have a good weekend and a good week next week, and I'll see you the following week. Take care and good night.